are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I love your background.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Excited too. I'm gonna have you start off by introducing yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you. So my name is Ebony. My author name is Ebony Q for my middle name, which we'll leave unsaid. Um, I am from Georgia, which you probably can hear in my accent. I've been writing for about a year. August next month will make a year, so I'm super excited. About that. I love to eat, so that makes me have to work out. I love the summertime. I don't like the heat, but I love the summertime. Weird. Um, I don't know. I don't know. That's me in a nutshell, I guess.
Yes, so we share a common love for food. I feel like we've kind of brushed on that a little bit. I do have to work out too, so we have that in common. I know I stumbled across your books. It may have been about 2, 3 months ago now. And when I say I fell in love with these characters that
Oh,
you have
thank
created,
you. Thank
I
you.
absolutely love them.
Thank you. That warms my little author heart because I know since you're an author as well that when the vision or the inspiration or whatever comes to you, you write it, you put it out there, but because it is such a creative process and you think it's good but you don't know how other people are going to respond to it. And I'm not naive to believe that everyone that chooses to read one of my stories will love it or love the whole thing or whatever the case may be. I get that, but it just feels good for somebody to say like, oh, I read it and I like the story. I didn't like this character, which is crazy because some of the characters I don't like. So just, yeah, thank you for that compliment.
You are welcome. Now, I have a series of questions for you. You can answer them as far at length as you want to, or as short as you want to.
Okay, girl, I
Um,
like to talk, so
well, we'll be here. We'll be here. So, I try to get different questions for every author. So, for
sure.
you, how did you find your unique writing style?
Um, Honestly, I think because I'm such an avid reader of urban fiction, that genre is just what came to me naturally. So I'm a veteran, proud U.S. Air Force veteran. So during my time in the Air Force, some of my jobs required me to read professionally for my job. So I've read tons of books on leadership by John Maxwell, books on communication, leading and managing people, so forth and so on, teamwork. But for me personally, outside of a professional realm, it's just always been that urban fiction. So when I decided years ago, like well over 10 years ago, that I wanted to try to write, for me, urban fiction was just natural. And then I write the type of stories that I like to read. So once I've completely finished a story and it's out there, like I'll read my own book as a reader and love it. So yeah, I just really have done what really just came naturally to me, what spoke and speaks to me.
That is beautiful. And I want to start off by saying thank you for your service.
Oh,
That is a
thank
beautiful
you.
thing. I would have never guessed. So I love interview questions like this because you never know. You never know what you're going to learn. I would have never known.
Yeah, I'm retired from the Air Force actually. So yeah, 20 years in my combat boots. So yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then how do you deal with writer's block?
So honestly, I really don't feel that I've experienced writer's block because I have so many stories in the works. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but that's just my process. So if inspiration for a story hits me, whether it's from something I'm watching on TV, which 90% of the time is some type of true crime drama, snapped or buried in the backyard or something like that, I love that stuff. So whether it's from that or music or what have you, I'll immediately take notes. And then when I sit down and I have the time to kind of start writing, I guess you could say I loosely do an outline. So then that kind of helps. Like I'll, put down, okay, she's going to be kidnapped or he's gonna rob them or whatever. And then I just kind of put my mind there and write with that. But for whatever reason, if one group of characters or one story isn't speaking to me, then I'll just put them aside and then move on to the next, because I literally have tons and tons of stories that are in the works. It's just that I don't have enough time in the day to dedicate to all of them. So fortunately, I just really haven't experienced writer's block. But I would say for anyone that does, something that I've heard like very established authors say, like James Patterson, R.L. Stein, people of that caliber, like they swear about by outlining. So I would say try outlining if you have writer's block, but I just really haven't experienced that.
Well, it sounds like you're God's favorite at this point.
I'll take that blessing, girl.
You are God's favorite of the writing community. I know that there are times too where I'll start a book and then 3 days later I'll have a new book idea. And sometimes you feel like, what are you doing? Like you're working on 5 books at a time. But if it works, it works. Everybody has their process.
Yeah. That's the story of my life. That I'll definitely be working on one, something that hit me. And then, like I said, I'll just jot down those notes, like a very, very rough outline. And then, hey, if y'all don't want to talk to me, then I'm gonna hop over here and these folks, will talk to me. And it's been working so for me thus far.
That's great. And if there was anything that you think comes to mind, like what do you hope not writers, but readers take away from your work when they get done reading it?
So thank you. So I hope that readers are able to see, for every one of my stories, thus far I have 9 that are published. Every one, I believe, is a cautionary tale. And my stories, I feel like they're very like all of them definitely are centered around like African Americans, love for the culture, because at the end of the day, that is me. But every story is a cautionary tale. So I really hope readers are able to, see through the drama, see through the, oh my God, I know he didn't, I know she didn't, and really walk away with like, wow, I probably need to be careful, next time I go to the club, or let me tell my 18-year-old daughter, be careful. Don't be in a club by yourself, or that type of thing. Like all of my stories. And I think I do it maybe without even at first realizing that I was including that, but there's definitely like a story behind the story.
I know when I read that first book by you, the title is going to slip me. But when I said, I literally put as the caption when I made the book review, like, you guys need to stop playing with people, because not everyone is mentally stable enough to handle playing with them, to handle rejection. I think it's great that you are highlighting that in books. And I think it's important to see it more often in books like urban fiction, because for whatever reason, I don't know, I think we definitely could do a better job as authors highlighting that more. When you look at the statistics of, the rates of domestic violence among like the African American community, it's pretty high. So I do think it's great that you are highlighting that in your work.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope that because some of and the story you're referring to is Disillusion with Memory and Brente. But I hope that as people read my stories, that they'll be able to see the underlying theme, and then especially if it's someone experiencing that. So in my series Party Girl, that story kind of touches on sex trafficking and human trafficking. So in the back of that, like I've included, hey, like if you're a victim of this, or someone that is, and I looked up like the national hotlines for that, as well as domestic violence. So for me, it certainly is not to glorify that type of stuff, those kind of tragedies, or make light of them, but to talk about it without kind of talking about it. But to include the resources, because like we know that stuff is real life. Like I have an aunt that was a victim of domestic violence years back when I was in probably middle school. And it escalated to the point where she lost her legs. Like her husband ran her over and she became a double amputee at the age, I think my aunt was maybe like in her late 20s at the time. Like I can't even imagine. So just a lot of that stuff, you know, sometimes I feel like um directors or writers or whomever kind of get criticized, and it's like we're not trying to glorify that, we're just trying to shine a light on it, and maybe my story might be what it takes for somebody to get themselves out of that type of harmful situation. So I'm gonna keep writing what I write because there's a method to, you know, the madness. Like I'm not talking about pimping just to be talking about pimping. I'm like, girl, when you meet these guys in the club and they slipping you these lines, don't believe them. Like,
Exactly.
no. So there's a reason for all of it.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, if you can think of a book that you have read in the past that has changed your perspective on writing.
I would say like my all-time favorite, and I need to read it again, The Coldest Winter Ever, Sister Soldier. Like
Oh,
that is my all-time favorite. I love a great storyteller, which I think that she displayed in that book. I like a story that will challenge your thinking. I don't like a story that's predictable. So I try to make sure that my stories aren't necessarily predictable. I love a story that pulls you in. Like I want to feel like I'm right there on the corner with you, or right there walking in the apartment, or, you know, whatever with you. So I try to, you know, do the same thing and pull my readers in. So for me, like the way she wrote that book, just masterful. So yeah, that's like if I could collab with her or pick her brain, just any of that, definitely like that book by that woman for sure.
perfect. And I did read that book some years ago. Like you said, it is a book that you can go back to and read it again because it is a urban fiction classic.
Yeah,
That was a classic.
for sure.
So, in terms of we're halfway through the year, are there any events that we can be looking for you to be at in person this year or next year?
So it's funny you asked that. I just recently did an event with a few other authors. So I live in Georgia, Atlanta metro area, and we traveled to Savannah and did like an author pop up there, and it was wonderful. So shout out to Donna's in Savannah and all of the wonderful customers and just the city of Savannah. So I have a couple, I don't have anything confirmed. I have a few things like with conventions and whatnot where you have to submit the application and then you wait to, you know, hear back. So I'm kind of waiting to hear back, fingers crossed. So if I am selected, then I'll definitely advertise that on my website, authorebonyq.com, as well as my socials. But other than that, aside from events, like, you know, I'm writing, like I
Yeah.
definitely am writing and definitely will have more things to come out before this year is over for sure.
I am so glad to hear that. And as you mentioned, you are on social media. So can you just drop all of your social media handles and what websites you are on so everyone can find you?
Yes, thank you. So I have my own website, authorebonyq.com, but then I am also on, I just recently started a YouTube page, same thing, Author Ebony Q. So I have a handful of videos on YouTube, and then I am on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. TikTok is Ebony Q02, but everything else is Author Ebony Q. So that is how you can find me. Where I mostly will post about my books or also books that I've read that I've really enjoyed, that type of thing. Just my whole author experience, which I'm loving. Love it, love it, love it.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to hear that. And I'm glad that I was able to connect with you and that you were able to come on here. I was looking forward to it all weekend. I was like,
I
oh,
was
yeah, talk to her.
I was very excited as well. Last night, I started thinking about it and thinking about, oh my gosh, what am I going to wear? Girl, I felt like it was the night before the first day of school. It's like, what am I going to wear? And I wanted to do something different with my hair, but these locks weren't cooperating. So I was like, fine, because I definitely wanted to be here on time. But thank you so much for all of your support. Like, I feel like we're author friends now, even though
We
we've
are
not
friends.
met in person, and hopefully one day we will be able to meet in person. But I just appreciate people. I appreciate genuine connections, like just, and that's what it's been thus far. So I do appreciate you as well for using your platform to highlight other people.
Oh, I appreciate that. And like you said, I feel like I've gotten to know you already through your books. When I had found you on social media, I was like, yes, like she posts consistently, she's on here, she's active, her readers can put a face to the book. I think sometimes too, it's a little challenging when I'm in my like reader seat of I'll get excited about a book and then I'm searching for the author and I'm searching and I'm searching and then you can't find them. Whereas when I found you, I could find your website, I could find you on social media. So it really helps. I'm glad you're one of those authors that are accessible so that people can give you your flowers.
Thank you. I try to be, and likewise, I recently connected with, and I found her from your page, Tony LaRue. So I
Yeah.
saw your author interview with her. And you guys were discussing how she likes to write crime thrillers, and I love to watch crime shows. So long story short, thus far, I think I've read maybe now 4 of her books, but one of them I was reading the morning after, and there was some stuff in there that like had my jaw on the floor. So I immediately put the book aside, wasn't even finished, and then went on socials trying to find her, which I was able to find her and connect with her. And again, just to be like, girl, like you're doing it, in this book. So I do the same thing for others, and it's nice, just to get that recognition back, where it's like, I don't want anything. I just want to tell you, like, I appreciate, what you're doing in this story. So yeah, I definitely try to be accessible and try to stay active, which sometimes it's hard because I really just like to focus on the writing and then also the reading, but trying to put stuff out there as well. So again, thank you for your author interviews and your book reviews. So the first one you did for me, Disillusioned, I got on maybe like 10 minutes later, excuse me. And then I told my hubby, I'm like, okay, look, I'm about to turn on the review. And I sat there and watched it like it was a movie. And I'm cracking up because you're hilarious, by the way. So I was cracking up and talking back to the screen. Then my husband and them were like, okay, well, we got some errands. And I'm like, okay, yeah, bye. Like, this is our time anyway. But it was just so delightful to have someone that I don't know just kind of go over my book like that. And a couple of my friends who have read that book were like, oh my God, she nailed it. And she's bringing your story, back to life again. So thank you for that. And just, continue. I'm sure you will, because your calendar like goes out for 5 years in the future.
Lady, it is. I currently have videos uploaded to YouTube already set to release going to March of 2025. So when I'm recording new content, I record at least 3 videos a day. I'm already pushing it out to next year, and I set it up for pre-order so that authors can see like that their books are coming out and think like the reviews are coming out.
Yeah.
So
I like that. And for the last one you did of mine, Party Girl, I actually was traveling on the day it came out, but because you do have it forecasted, I know I posted something like, hey, sign on this time, or whatever, to check it out. But no, I think that's great. So again, thank you, and keep that up. So look, I'm gonna flip it real quick. I know you're interviewing me, but because you write as well, do you have any books that are about to come out, or for someone who's never like read your books, like what book should they start with?
Ooh, the book to start with would probably be my book. I think it's on my shirt. It is on my shirt today. My Favorite Ex. It's free on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes and Nobles, Kobo, Libby. a bunch of different platforms. The next book I have coming out is I Did Everything by the Book. It is by a young woman who went to college. She waited until marriage to be intimate. She waited and did everything perfect. And now she's experiencing fertility issues at the age of 38. And she kind of starts to have a resentment towards God because she feels like she's being punished despite the fact that she did everything the quote unquote right way. So that book is coming out next month. It's available right now for pre-order on Amazon. I want to say it's also available on pre-order for Apple as well as Barnes and Nobles for 99 cents. So those are out there.
That sounds good. So I've started reading My Favorite Ex. And I can't remember, because the same way that I will start writing several books, sometimes I'll start reading several books at a time. So I started reading that one, and I don't recall the main guy's name, but I know I'm mad at him because I don't like how I don't want to spoil it, but at first I was all team him. And then I'm mad at him. So I need to get back into that. Maybe later on tonight once I have time to read so I can see how that is. Yeah, because I'm not feeling him anymore.
Don't get on me when you finish it, please. That's all I'm gonna say. It's different. How I was beefing with Keith, that's different. Don't beef with me after.
You will probably hear from me then, because yeah, he was like, okay, this is bad, and then like you go, okay, so
Yeah.
we will see. Yeah, I'll definitely have to let you know what I feel about that one once I finish that.
All right. Well, I do appreciate you coming on. I'll make sure that I will send the link over to you as soon as this is available,
Okay.
so that you can be able to schedule your watching party so you can go ahead and watch it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. You have a good evening as well.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.